it's being recorded. Good. So welcome. I want to see everybody on the video. Everybody should be on the video. Okay. Unless you have network problems. Hi, Lex. Good morning, everyone. Jamila, itni seasoned actress hai. It's like teaching Elizabeth Taylor how to act. Okay. Let's first understand what is the purpose of this few sessions that we plan. When we say learn to act, see, all of us are born actors. Okay, as children, didn't you act with your parents? Why didn't you do your homework? Oh, teacher. Hey, why did you do this? We're all born actors. We have to understand that this human psychology, the personality, the human personality. Okay, before we go to the human personality, let's talk about the living organism. Okay, every living organism loves to live. For example, suppose you catch hold of let's say you've trapped a rat and you release it. The rat will run straight to the corners. It will not run in the center of the street because it knows something will come flying up and pick it up. Same thing with cockroaches. They all run into corners. The greatest living organism which knows how to survive is a mosquito. Keep your hand like this. The mosquito will never come and sit here. The mosquito will always sit. It knows life is in danger. This life can be secure. Okay. So try to put it like this, the mosquito will go back here. There is an inbuilt security sensor which makes the mosquito look for shade rather than light. All living organisms want to live. If the sunflower does not have sunlight, they face each other. Okay. All beings have an inbuilt mechanism to survive. They say, when a when a giraffe is born, it's dropped from a height of about 4.5, 5 feet to the ground. And the mother kicks the giraffe till it stands up. So the giraffe must learn to run if it wants to survive. The monkey must learn to hold on to its mother to survive. How does the human being survive? You can't even scratch yourself. You can't turn over if you have wet your diapers. This is the lot of the human being. So the human being survives by pushing a lot of these, challenges into the unconscious. It's an unconscious built into the system. It pushes it into the unconscious. That's a survival. And from this unconscious comes an inherent acting ability. So each one of us has learned to act for our survival. Over a period of time, it has become an industry and people are taught how to do certain things and how to bring out the right expressions and things like that. So here in this few sessions that we plan to run, they're not going to learn how to do cinema acting, theater acting, and things like that. We're essentially going to learn first, recognize the emotions within us and express it. Express it in a manner so that the genuineness of the emotion can reach the other person. So when I say acting, I'm not going to fake. There is no faking. There is essentially going to be an expression of this intrinsic emotion. If I am sad, okay, we can master the art of sadness. Very often you say, to be sad is an order. There's nothing disorder there, because the part is an emotion. This it is called, there's a beautiful Sanskrit word called rasa. Okay. And I am the karta and I have a rasa. If I am able to maintain a distance between the rasa and the karta, the distance is here, okay, then it is a rasa. But if I get lost in the rasa, it becomes a virasa. We'll try and understand these things. Okay, so let me give you a scenario. Somebody acts as Bhagat Singh and is going to be put on the gallows today. His parents are outside, his sister is outside, his friends are outside, and he is going to be hanged. What is the emotion going through the person playing Bhagat Singh? She is sad. This is called the distance. The actor is very clear of the fact that he is playing a role, and he invests all his emotions into the role, yet maintains a beautiful distance between the role and the role player. It's all in the mind. So this is being the basic. The first exercise which we will try and do over the next couple of sessions will be how to tell a story using the right kind of emotions. Somewhere along the way, what has happened is, it is not a problem really. This expression of emotion in story, some sections have taken it as, suppose I have to tell you a story of the fox and the crow. I will have to come and do that and things like that. It's not necessary. You can still bring the crow out without doing this caricature stuff. So the first exercise which we are going to try today, do now, is try and tell your story. So how are you going to tell your story? You are going to introduce yourself in the form of a story. Okay, you can say first person, you can say third person. He was born, or something like that. Or the first person, you can say I was born. Construct a scenario, put in the emotions if possible, and try to tell your story in a very interesting manner. You will have about 30 seconds to tell your story. Okay, you can do there are some people who can tell their story over 5 sessions. Okay, but I would like you to tell your story in about 30 seconds. And when you want to tell your story, I would like to look at you. So that's what's going to give me some feedback. So who would like to start? Yes, Narendra Shah will start. Bring the camera close to you so that I can see your face. I would particularly like to see important areas of a face. I'll tell you what are they. Forehead, eyebrows, eyes, the corners of the mouth, the nose. These are the areas I would like to clearly see. Believe it or not, that's where all your emotions are invested. Then we'll see the next part. Start. Narendra Shah ji, aapki kahani bataiye.
My name is Narendra Shah. I born in Gujarat in 1952. I have studied up to BSc from Bombay University, Patkar College, Goregaon. Then I have done diploma in business management from Ville Parla, the Dhanuka Institute of Management. Then I was employed in MTNL. I have served as a senior subdivision engineer in MTNL, and I retired in 2012. And I enjoy meeting people and help people. During my career, I was union leader and I was used to solve the problem of my colleague. And today also, we have got a MTNL Retire Welfare Association where we will solve the problem, meet each other and solve their problem. Because somebody stay in UP, somebody stay in Chennai, they can come to Bombay. So whenever there is a problem, they talk to us and we will try to help them. And I fond of meeting people, each other, of like-minded people, so that how we can serve the community. It is my hobby or it's my passion.
Thank you, Narendra ji. What language are you comfortable?
I am comfortable in English, Hindi, both the language.
Okay, fine. What you did was a simple narrative about yourself. We will try to bring out the emotional, the story aspect of it as we go on. Okay. Who would like to do next? Can we move the camera? Ravish Daveji. Please introduce yourself in the form of a story.
Yeah. I'll put earpod.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I'm just making it a little bit dramatic.
Increase the volume.
Okay. Now clear?
Yeah.
You see, when I was in the form of a spirit, before coming to this world, I was searching for the pair who can give me a chance to come to this world. I went to Chennai. I found them in Chennai. But by the time I could go inside my mother's womb, the couple shifted to Calcutta. Then I had to hunt again for them in Calcutta. And finally, I traced them. I could penetrate myself inside. And then I found one day myself in Hyderabad, where my mother came to Hyderabad. She belonged to Hyderabad. And then I was born in Hyderabad. I was named as Ravish G. Dave. They had a big party, I believe. I don't know. I have no knowledge about it. And I grew up in my maternal grandfather's house. And since then, I'm staying in Hyderabad and I'm a hospitality professional. In due course, I have become hospitality professional.
Good. The story constructed in the form of a spirit manifesting itself on earth. Lovely. Good. Yeah. Good way. Each one is unique in our own way. Very important. We are only going to discover the acting ability in us. We are not going to copy anybody at the moment. Initially. Later on, we will do what is required to do a little bit of we will not even copy, we will do emulation. I'll show you some clips as well. Okay. Can we move to Jamila? Unmute.
I want to tell about myself?
Yes, you have to tell us about yourself in the form of a story. Investing whatever emotion you want.
Emotion, like I'll tell what is my life,
Okay.
I was born in Chennai. I was born in Madras in the late 50s. And then my father, since he was working as Jayalakshmi, I was born as Jayalakshmi. And my father, since he was in the Indian Air Force, he used to travel all over. So we used to follow him, like wherever he goes, we used to follow. Then, schooling, everything aisa sab ho gaya, and we had a very nice, happy life. And then finally I came to movies. I went to FTI. I did my course there. I was very young, they started talking about Stanislavski method of acting and all that. I was very young to know all that. तो मैं क्या सोचती थी only all dance and ये वो सब ऐसा ही होता है करके, but it was not like that. And when we did our screen test also, it is a very long thing. I have to cut it short. We tend to in Bharatanatyam and all, it's over, So they said, no, you have to be, acting is like being yourself, like how we are all, how we are talking to each other, that we have to bring it in front of the cameras. That's all. So I went there and finally I got married. I became Jamila. That's my story, like in a short way.
Good. Very nice. We'll learn more as we go on. Can we move to Lux? Lux and Lalita both can introduce, no problem.
Okay.
Lux, your story.
We are here as a couple.
Okay, lovely.
Well, I had no control, but I was born. So, and I have no regrets. I am enjoying my life. The way I look at my personal goal is to spread happiness in every possible way. And I'm trying to do it in my own humble way. All I can say is that I bumped into IT world in the year 1976, which was just an accident. And I grew in that world, and I'm reaping the benefit of that. I just started accepting things as they came in my life rather than trying to make certain things happen, which was beyond my control. If I had a desire, I would have done so many things, but it was not in my control. So, one of the learnings I had was that I must accept what comes my way. And if you don't get what you want, I would rather be happy with what I get. This is exactly what I feel. So life has been very kind. God has been very kind. We are blessed. So it's a win-win situation as far as I'm concerned. So और क्या कहें, और भी गम है ज़माने में. Yes, दुनिया में कितना गम है, लेकिन मेरा गम बहुत कम है. So that is the way I am looking at things. Over to you, Lalita.
Over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Story as it is, as he says, married at a very young age, immediately after graduation. And in those days, we had no say. Girl has no say. She had to marry. Grandparents are still there. They will decide. And I always thought elders are more experienced to guide me rather than me as a young girl taking decisions. So, marriage, children, taking care of children. I never wanted to go out and work as such. I was happy in my home, and that is what I got. So, actually, I was lucky to get what I wanted. Not what I need, but what I wanted, I got. And much later in life, after maturity, I realized all wants are not needed.
Ah,
So true.
You may want hundreds of things, but similar to material things, you may buy something, you will look at it for a couple of years, then you won't even know where I've thrown it in one corner. So now I've started targeting more on my needs rather than wants. Children are settled by God's grace. Everything is fine now. No crib. I have nothing to complain about my life. And another thing with me is by basic nature, live and let live. If somebody wants to enjoy, let them enjoy. If Lax wants to go and enjoy with his friends, let him enjoy. Children want to do something, yes, I will guide them, but I will not impose my views on them. Because they are all mature adults now. I will only tell, see, unsolicited advice I will give. Taking it, going by it is your choice. I am free now. So that is what I say.
thank you.
So, children are, by God's grace, they enjoy themselves.
Basically, categorization: need to have, nice to have, and must have.
Nice to have. Once again, Carex.
Need to have,
Need to have.
nice to have, and must have.
Very nice. Very nice. See, just now he has used an element in his speech, pausing at every level to convey the emotion. Okay, a very important element of acting. See, when we speak, we tend to do a lot of. Now, this phase is what attracts people's attention. And when you are all over the place, the person who is looking at you also has to follow you all over the place. Have you seen seasoned actors? They will convey the best of emotion without moving their face much. Okay, I don't know. Some of you must have seen, others I would recommend you see. See the movie Roman Holiday. The last scene, Audrey Hepburn, the princess leaves. For a short while, Gregory Peck and she were together. He's in love with her, she's in love with him, but she's a princess and he's a journalist and they have to separate. So he will be introduced to her. Joe Bradley. Joe Bradley will look at her, swallow hard. That's all of the emotions. And he walks away, looking into the sky, walks away. The face won't move. That's where the emotions are very beautifully conveyed. I will play the clip someday. I'll definitely play the clip for you someday. Okay, as we go. Good, excellent. So just an intro. Let's go to Kanta now. Unmute.
Hi all, I'm the third born of my parents. There are two before me, my siblings, and three after me. One of whom, my older brother, passed away some time ago. So now we are five. And my father being in post and telegraphs, we shifted. I was born in Ajmer. Then we shifted to Nagpur. Then after that, Bombay at the age of 9. And I was in Bombay all my life after that, till we came to Gurgaon for a couple of years, and then here since 2016. And yes, life has been okay, getting used to the place. And very fond of dogs, especially. I have 3 in the house, and I look after some more outside. And that's how my life is going very happily now. Very settled and very peaceful. That's me.
Thank you, Kanta. Let's go to Prakash. Prakash Singh.
गुड मॉर्निंग सर. सर क्या बताएं कि इस जिंदगी से कोई शिकवा ही नहीं है.
Lovely.
कि हर ख्वाहिश ऐसे पूरी हो जाती है जैसे कि पहले ही वो हमारे लिए करके रखता है. अभी मैं जब भी दुकान खोलने के लिए आ रहा था तो 2 हमारे 3 दोस्त वहां पे बैठे थे. तो प्रकाश सिंह जी कैसे हो? तो मैंने उनको कहा, मैं कहा 70-75 साल गुजर गए हैं, हंसते गुजर गए हैं, चल रहे हैं, ड्यूटी दे रहे हैं, इससे जास्ती क्या चाहिए. अब इसके सामने मुझे बताओ कि जो कर रहा है हमारे लिए, उसके लिए हम क्या करते हैं? कुछ नहीं करते. हम हराम खोर हैं. आई कॉल माई सेल्फ हराम खोर. यू सी, सुबह 10 मिनट पूजा कर ली, शाम को पूजा कर ली, बहुत हो गया. वो तो हर सांस उसकी मेहरबानी से चलती है. तो बेचारे एकदम जैसे नम हो गए बात सुन के. तो मैं बोला, एक बात किया करो, जब टाइम मिले, जब ये हो, उसका शुक्र मनाया करो. You just don't ask for anything. He gives you everything. Even without asking, he gives you everything. तो हर बात पे ना, जब भी कुछ हो तो आप सिर्फ उसका शुक्र मनाया करो. थैंक यू गॉड, थैंक यू गॉड एंड थैंक यू गॉड. आई गॉट मैरिड विद अ गर्ल जो मेरे जिंदगी में शायद नसीब में या जन्म पत्री में और इसमें नहीं लिखा हुआ था. Every pandit, everyone who used to see my hand, my janam patri says, you love some girl but you'll never get married to her. और आपकी शादी 30 साल में लिखी हुई है. और but the love is so deep that आप शादी के बाद भी इसको नहीं भूल पाओगे. उस टाइम पे मैं भगवान से ये कह रहा था कि मेरी शादी होगी तो यहाँ होगी या तो नहीं होगी. और टचवुड मेरी को इतनी ये है कि मेरी शादी वहीं हुई. 30 साल नहीं, मैं 25 साल में शादी कर ली. इतनी हैप्पी लाइफ है, इतने अच्छे बच्चे हैं, इतनी अच्छी घरवाली है. इससे जास्ती क्या चाहिए बताइए. आई एम सो सेटिस्फाइड. आई एम नॉट भाई ठीक है नहीं, कोई कहता है ना ठीक है, नहीं जी, बहुत अच्छा है, बहुत अच्छा है, बहुत अच्छा है.
Wonderful, wonderful, Prakash. Let's go to Sharan Angri. Sir, you have to come on the video. Yeah, nice.
Yes.
And unmute, unmute. Please introduce yourself. Your
Yeah.
story.
Hello.
I won't say introduce yourself. Aapki kahani.
I have been listening for a while. I joined late. Hello, Mohan and others, Lax and Lalita and others whom I know very well. Yeah, my story is I am from a village background. I was born in a village, eldest in the family. My father was a farmer, but I somehow wanted to achieve something in life. It was little struggle, but then I could get what I wanted to. I could achieve what all I wanted to. I have had good professional life, and family-wise, I'm quite happy. And when I look back, I feel I have been blessed in several ways. There have been difficulties, there have been struggles, there have been failures. All that is part of life. I was listening to Mrs. Lalita. What she said, I very much like. She said, like, what all is wanted is not needed. And I think I tried to achieve what I needed needed to be professionally successful, personally happy. So I am by training, I am agricultural scientist, and I could train myself, and I can confidently say I am in the top 3 or 4% of the bracket where many achievers reach. I am happy about it. I am happy about it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Doctor is your agricultural
PhD. It is a PhD.
a PhD in IT. Very good.
PhD in genetics and plant breeding.
Genetics. Very nice.
Yeah.
Nice knowing you, Sharanangadi.
Thank you. Thank you, Mohan.
Let's move to Sita. Sita, it's late in the evening there in Canada.
Yeah. Namaste, everyone. I don't know whether to say good evening or good morning. Yeah, I would say good morning, everyone. Nice to see all of you. Far from Canada. I've been keeping awake just to meet people who have lots of things to say. And I'm blessed to be here. As for my story, I wouldn't call it much of a story. I was born in a village to a very normal middle-class family. My father was in the Indian National Army, very proud to have known and served the country under Subhash Chandra Bose. He always boasted of, and we heard stories of how they were, stranded in Singapore and so on during the war, and then how he landed back in India. So I grew up listening to all those stories, and I got everything, even without asking, more than probably a normal human being would deserve or ask for. All my needs were taken care of. All my wants were provided to me. And then, yes, I don't think, again, like Lalita ji said, probably they were not needed, but I was still provided with all my desires fulfilled. And then I grew up with the kind of education I wanted and the kind of job that I wanted. Finally landed in a place where both my needs and my desires were overwhelming, actually. That I was blessed with a good family, and I can say to some extent I was able to fulfill my duties to the satisfaction of myself more than ever, to my parents-in-law. And today my children are doing it to me, what I probably have done to my parents or to my grandparents. I've got to my parents-in-law. And today I'm there for them in case they need me. I'm busy with my work. I'm busy with my music and catching up with the things that I couldn't do in my youth. So after 60, I'm trying to catch up with things and enjoying doing things that I normally do, like studying and then the extra reading and extra singing and so on. And I'm available to my children if they need me. I keep myself to the extent that I'm available, and I don't interfere with people's lives. So they have their space and I have mine. So they are happy and I'm happy. I can't ask for more in life. That's it. I continue to live singing. I continue to live talking to people like you. And I'm extremely satisfied with my life. If it can continue like this, I should be greatly blessed, I can say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, what we have now done in this round is we have given a narrative about ourselves, which follows a pattern like this. Imagine you are doing this in camera or on stage where people are watching. At the end of your narrative, what would people have done? Gone to sleep. See, there is a role. Life means roles. Roles means plots. There is a script. Script has a plot. Plot means twist, turns, up, down. And it is this up, down twists that are revealed by your emotions. We have the Navarasas. Of them, when we listen to each one of us here, it looked like you had no anxiety, no disappointment. We are all philosophically the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Samatvam Uchyate, we are all enlightened beings higher than Krishna. Did you never have disappointments in life? Did you not have anxieties? Don't you have regrets? How do we express them? There has to be an objectivity in which you are able to objectify the regret, live that regret, but see that the regret doesn't come into your system. That distance, and can you express it? Okay, I want to tell you a small story. And at the end of the story, please identify the emotions involved in the story. Okay? I was 10 years old, less than 10 years old, when my right arm, there was a swelling so big. It was very painful, and my father used to apply heat and then apply. There was one thing called iodex. Sarva Nivarani, all solutions were available to iodex. He applied, but the swelling never came down. He took me to an orthopedist in Kolkata those days, very famous man. And even in those days, early 60s, his fees was about 15 rupees a visit, about 15,000 as of today. So huge, very expensive. So he said, do an X-ray, do this, do that, and so many things. And then after waiting for an hour or more, then he called us inside. I didn't understand anything. He told my father in Bengal, "Ekta tumor ache. Vitore ekta tumor ache. There is a tumor inside. I will put a plaster and see. If it doesn't subside, amputate kore dite hobe. The right hand has to be amputated." For people who don't know, at the age of 4, I was affected by polio. So I use a nice Zimmer walker for walking now. I wear orthopedic shoes otherwise. So according to the medical terms, I'm a physically handicapped person, entitled for income tax deductions. I walk with a limp and I use an elbow crutch. 9 years old. And my father's thought was, this fellow cannot anyway walk. His right hand is going to be amputated. So he consulted another doctor and said, is there some way we can put this life to an end? He told this to me when I was 50 years. And now he took me to another doctor. The doctor said, a bandage and the tumor disappeared. He told this to me when I was 50 years old. I knew there was some problem with my hand, but I didn't know this amputation story and how my father felt. I would like you to identify the emotions in this story. It's a real story, okay? Identify the emotions. Yeah, whoever wants to. Unmute.
Anguish.
Anguish, yes. Anguish of whom?
Anguish of the father, father
of the
is
parent. There is parental anguish.
Parents, yeah.
Parental anguish.
Yes.
Yeah. Any other emotion?
Shock for you?
Helplessness.
And you as a child won't be, you will just
Exactly.
go there.
As a child, I didn't know it was pushed into the unconscious, possible. Maybe I knew something was wrong. As a child, there was confusion. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what was it.
Yes.
I didn't know why my mother used to, whenever she looked at me, her eyes.
Yeah.
She never had eye contact with me for some time. Whenever I used to look at her, she used to look away. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what was wrong. Confusion. Then later on, when another doctor said bandage, it will all go away, what happened to the father?
Happiness.
What's a big
joy.
relief. Yeah.
Joy.
Relief. He said,
yes, yes.
When he told this to me at the age of 50, what happened?
Oh God.
Hilarity. You know how much he enjoyed by telling me the story?
Yes.
Because how the story came was, There was a bottle which they were finding it very difficult to open. Finally, I opened it for them. Then my father said, look at this fellow's hand. If only he caught my throat, I would be finished today. And 40 years ago, this was what his hand condition was.
Yeah.
So look at the hilarity at that point in time. When an event became acceptable in your life. When the event was staring at you in your face. Now, when you tell the story, in yourself, could you feel certain emotions?
Yeah.
Yes.
Could you
Of course.
feel? Could you feel that the arm had to be amputated? Did you swallow hard?
Yes. Very, very emotional.
Not easy.
This is an element. Yeah. Did you
Very
swallow?
emotional.
Oh my God. Did you feel like doing this?
Yeah. You know, the pain is there.
Yeah. That is, you could empathize and feel the pain.
Yeah.
This is a very important element of acting. Okay. I'll tell you one more story. And again, a real life story. And identify the emotions. Again, my early 20s, I was working in Calcutta. I was working in an export firm. A small salary. I used to spend 1 rupee per day on my lunch. That was what I could afford. And for 1 rupee in Kolkata, what they used to do, they used to, they had in Kolkata a unique quarter-pound loaf of bread. Or whoever is in Calcutta, Ravishji, whether you were in Calcutta, there's a quarter-pound. It comes as a quarter-pound loaf. The fellow will quickly put it on some koila oven, cut it into 4 pieces, put some sugar in between and give it to you. It will cost about 40 paise or something. Then for the other 50, 60 paise, whatever is the thing, we used to buy that seasonal fruit. So one seasonal fruit of those days was that guava. Bengali, we used to call it pyara, amarud. And he'll cut it into 4, sprinkle some red and white salt and give it to you. And I have a habit. Whatever is rolled, I will unroll the paper and read it. So I've read cinema stories, cricketer stories, old scores, political news and things like that. That day, after eating the pyara, when I unrolled, I found a Reserve Bank advertisement calling for applications. There was a post box number given to which I sent. They said, 5 rupiya pejo, we will send you a form. So I sent 5 rupees and I got a form. I filled up. It must have happened sometime in December 1977. May 1978, I was employed in Reserve Bank of India. So in a guava sheet, I found an employment form and got a job and rose up to be currency officer of the bank. What are the emotions? Do you see?
Exhilaration.
Ecstasy.
Ordinary
Ecstasy.
event unfolding as something extraordinary. And wonder when I open a sheet, oh my God, it's an application. Chalo, dalo, dal dete hain. And you find they call you for an interview, you're selected, and then comes a letter. Join us on the 10th of May, 1978. Join us. So, in the next part, okay, we'll do this exactly we'll start at 11 and end at 12, only 1 hour. Or maybe 10 minutes, because we cannot keep dragging, otherwise we lose the fun. I would now like to take you to the next step. Please tell me an event from either your life or somebody's life that you know, which has an element of emotion. Okay. And the element of emotion should be expressed in voice inflection alone. Of course, you can do facial expressions. When I say voice inflection, we have what is called 4 elements of the voice. It is called timbre. It comes from the base. The doctor said the hand has to be amputated. Serious. Timbre. Then you have the pause. When you want to say something, but you're not finding the ready words, hesitation. Ankahi baat, pause. Okay, then you have the tone. You can speak in a hyper. You can have inflections. And then you have the pitch. Hey! So these things add a certain nuances to your voice. Try using any of these to explain any one incident in your life. Okay. Now it's going to be random. Okay. We are not going to follow an order. It's going to be random. But I want to catch you all. I'll start with Dr. Sharan Angri. Any one event, and I want a certain emotion. Try telling a story. Come closer to the camera so that I can see your eyes, your forehead, your chin, cheeks. Yeah. Bring it as close as possible.
Yeah, this is the.
Yeah, fine. Like Jamila's. Yeah, good. Yeah. Take your glasses off if it will help you. Yes, sir. Action.
Not very good in emoting, but then also difficult to recollect one event where I felt very emotional. Yeah, I think it was when my father passed away. He was ill for a while, and he was bedridden. I was in Bangalore. I had to travel to my native place, Raichur, where he lived, a village. And I was busy with my works, and I still made some time, went and visited him. So he couldn't communicate. He was almost like he was unable to talk. He couldn't even utter a word. When I went there, I sat with him and he held my hand. And in his eyes, I could see. I don't know. I couldn't read the emotions. I wish I could. At least few of the things which he wanted to say but could not. So I was sitting with him for a while, and he didn't utter one word. Otherwise he's such a good communicator. People in the village always loved to listen to what he said. He had lots of things to say, a lot of things he used to read and understand. And he was very well loved for his communication skills and the way he narrated things. But that day, just sitting with him, he was looking at me, and probably he felt he couldn't do what all a good father could do for a son. Probably there was regret, probably there was repentance. I couldn't ascribe any particular meanings to those feelings. But then looking back, I feel there were several things which you can interpret that emotion as. Because as they say, silence is golden, and being silent, I think he expressed several things which he could not have otherwise expressed in words. That's one thing which when I look back, makes me very emotional, and I stand aloof and cry sometimes. So that's one incident which is very much etched in my mind. Mohan.
Thank you. Thank you, Sharon. Okay. Can you please help identify some dominant emotions here? Anyone?
Sorrow.
Yeah. Was there a sorrow?
Yeah.
Do you think there was sorrow?
Pain.
I felt
Pain in-
remorse.
There is
It was remorseful.
regret. There is regret, not
Helplessness.
sorrow.
Remorseful.
Helplessness.
Yeah, there is a certain regret. There is helplessness. More often, Sharon looked up there, trying to pull things from memory, construct the whole thing in his mind, live that particular scene, express. There's a lot of how I wish this communicator could have spoken to me. How I wish I had perhaps spent a little more time with him. So these emotions reach out by your body. See, when you look up into there, you're trying to recall something. When you avoid eye contact, you don't want to embarrass yourself or the other person with those delicate emotions. Can you look at somebody in the eye and say, I love you? Nobody will believe you. Oh, it's a lax is trying. A lady says, when a guy looks me in the eye and says, I love you, I don't believe him anymore.
Mohan is trying now.
I wanted to add one last sentence.
Please do, please do.
Yeah, the unfortunate part was I left my village that day, and next day morning I get a message he passed away.
See, that was a thing.
So
That was the
that,
unkahi part. That was
that gives me a feeling he was waiting for me to go and see him.
ah,
He had held on to life just for that one moment. And once I went there and he could look at me and communicate whatever through silence, then next day he passed.
see.
That's
So
another.
the feeling remains that, oh, if I wish I had stayed for 12 more hours, 12 more hours.
Yes,
So
exactly.
these kind of emotions do come out in your acting.
It's a regret. Regret.
The regret shines through. And it is a genuine feeling which touches all of us. Yeah. Now let's go to Ravish. Any one incident?
Yes, my incident, as in introduction I said, my parents were from Chennai.
Ravish, bring the camera closer to your face.
Okay.
Yes. Leave the hands out. I want to only see from your face.
Yeah. So my parents, they were there in Calcutta. I was conceived and my mother came to Hyderabad for delivery. In between, when I was around 9 months old, my father came to Hyderabad for some treatment, which he could not fight it out, and he lost this world. Okay, that time I was 9 months old, and later, after 5 years, my mother followed my father.
Oh,
I was hardly 5-year-old. Now the emotion is there. When I was just 5-year-old and my mother died, and the dead body is there at home, and they are trying to keep me away from the whole scene. So I was with my cousins who are of my age, a couple of years older to me. They were telling me, here, you know, my pet name was Munna. They said, Munna, you know, teri maa mar gayi. So I said, nahi, meri maa nahi mari. So because I was told my mother is gone to gods. So I said, na, meri maa mari nahi, meri maa Bhagwan se milne gayi hai.
Wow.
Okay. So they said, Are nahi Buddhu, my elder cousin was there. Are Buddhu, wo tere ko divana bana rahe. वो तो मर गई, अब उसको ले जाके जला देंगे. So I was a little bit shaken by that. So I ran back to my maternal grandfather. I asked him, are you going to burn my mother? He says, Are nahi beta, we are sending her to, she is going to God. And see, whenever there will be dark, she will open the lights for you. That is the bijli jo chamakti hai. Tabhi bijli was, you know, was there, lightning was going on. So he says, your mother is gone there and she is putting on lights for you. And at that moment only, it was evening, lightning was there. I ran out and I was just trying to locate my mother in the sky, where she is. By the time it went off. So I went back to my grandfather and I complained to him. I said, you please tell mother to be there for some more time. That was it.
Are you able to feel all the emotions of a young child? At 5, it went into the unconscious. Much later, he is able to express it. And even now, when he's saying it, there is a lump in his throat when he's trying to express it. See the emotions that can, of course, you have to objectify the emotion. Because you objectify the emotion, you don't break down and cry. But the emotions are still there. An element of acting is when you are able to bring out these emotions to reach a discerning audience. Shall we move to Sita for any incident?
Yeah, I have never spoken about this to anyone so far. Not even to my children, not even to my family. My sister married the first of the daughters among the 5 children, married against my parents' wish. So my parents had pinned all their hopes on her. So they were completely shattered when this happened. I remember I was in high school, probably. They kept away. all the scene, that was going on. Then my mother was crying, and I didn't understand what was going on, why people were crying and what was happening. And my father was sitting with this. He is a very balanced kind of a person. I have never heard him shout, even when he was very angry. So I saw that he was holding his head and sitting down. And then I could sense that there was something wrong. And that moment I decided, I never had the guts to talk to my parents and ask them what happened. As things went by, and then people started talking, and I overheard people say, she shouldn't have done this, or she disappointed the parents. She forgot she has smaller children at home. And slowly things started sinking in. I started understanding what happened. As a child, that day I decided I'm never going to oppose my parents. I'm never going to say no to whatever they want me to do. Even as a child, I never asked them for anything. Since that day, I never asked him even a normal kind of desires. I never expressed my desires to them. And I always followed them, and I had always taken them into confidence. And then till they died, I can say till they died, I had always done what would please them. What would please them? If there is any way I can make up for what happened that day, I would do to compensate for whatever happened. So that's the emotion I carried till they died. And that's the emotion I carried when I saw my father's dead body. I said, I hope I have lived up to your expectations where somebody disappointed you. And then that's what happened when my mother died. And I was telling myself, by mistake, if I have disappointed you, like I couldn't compensate if I had done something unconsciously, like she did, forgive me. That was the only thing I could say when I saw my mother's dead body. I was very close to my mother. And I couldn't take it even after I became grandmother, that my mother was no more. So till today, whenever I feel, I rarely feel, but when I do feel a bit of, depression, I can feel her hand on my shoulder. I can really feel I'm the very reassuring kind of a feeling. Yes, I'm there. So immediately I know, I don't have any reason to be, upset or something. It happens very, very rarely. And then, yes, till today, I feel my parents live with me. They are around me in case I need. So in case I need any kind of a guidance, so they're always there. So I have a feeling that, yes, my somewhere where my sister failed, I tried to compensate. So in that sense, I have no regrets, but I still feel, yes, she shouldn't have done it. Somewhere they had more hopes on her, which shouldn't have happened. And that disappointed them. And that disappointment can never be compensated by no matter how many people try to do what she had to do. So yes.
Thank you, Sita, for sharing a very personal and a very intimate kind of emotion. A word here on acting. When we express an emotion, there is something to say, what to say, of course. How to say is also very important. But a very important element is how much to say. See, when you are expressing something, and when it touches the audience, they get riveted onto you. And how long does this rivet stay? If we express the emotion beyond that riveting capacity, it suffers from that entropy, it falls off. Therefore, what to say, how to say, and always remember how much to say. That's why, all these in Indian movies, they have, a song runs only for about 3 to 4 minutes. Once in a while, you have a nazm like Mere Mehboob running throughout the movie, but they put it in 5 different situations. But generally, they rivet, so that the riveting aspect is not used. That's very, very important. Okay. Now, we have another thing, like if somebody starts the story on a serious note, the stories keep following a slightly same pattern. So that's why very often in our Hindi movies or Tamil movies, they will have a
Comedian.
comedy track running parallel, which will have no connection, but they will have a cap. So just there's a break of a routine. The mind is capable enough to take someone. So I would like someone to come and tell me something hilarious, not cracking a joke. Okay, it should be hilarious, but it's not just cracking a joke. Yes, lads.
Right in the beginning, I thought I will share this. It has to be something not very serious and impactful. The first meeting that I had with her, the Ladki Dekhne Wali Baat. This is what I wanted to share. In fact, I have written a blog and it is all there for people to read. But I would still like to say this, I jumped the queue and I was ahead of my elder brother when it came to marriage.
Oh.
So, 4 of us had gone to see her in Chembur in Mumbai. And we went, and then on the way, we saw someone whom we didn't want to see. Because I was getting ahead of my elder brother, it has to be a hush-hush story, People didn't have to know about this. Ladki Dekhne Wali Baat. So then we avoided, evaded, said something and then escaped. They knew what's happening. That also we could read. And then normally ladki dekhne jao, so you expect certain things. And then here I was in for a shock. We were just 4 of us. There were 25 of them. ये लड़की देखने वाली बात नहीं थी, लड़का देखने वाला.
मैं बोलूं कुछ?
हाँ जी बोलिए.
Okay. Number 1 is I was not at my home. Okay. These people, they opted to finish that ladki dekhne wala when I was in Mumbai. I don't know why.
I was in a hurry, simple.
Okay. So I was staying at my Masi's place, and my Masi is a big joint family. And to top it, we had to invite my father's elder brother also, because we had to give him respect, Peripa. So Peripa, Perima were the only outsiders, but all other people in the house were my Chitti's family people. So that is how 25 came to that number.
So I wasn't ready. Oh God, ऐसा भी होता है. चलो ठीक है. And to top it, Pirappa was a very brilliant man. So he actually in the conversation realized that I was doing the job of a glorified peon in Richardson Hindustan. So he asked me point blank, where is the challenge in your job? I said, yaar, ye banda mere ko pakad liya. But then I was also capable of bluffing and, doing that marketing talk and sales talk like people do, and said that, oh no, this is a huge system we are building. It's a media planning exercise that we do, vagera, which was actually bluff. But the fact is that I had to manage the situation, which I did. I thought I successfully did because post-marriage, he was the best friend of mine. So kahin pe to equation worked. So essentially, I am trying to say that it was a happy event, happy environment, but there was a little bit of element of shock, surprise, and then eventually all things go well and everything that ends well is the best thing that can happen. So that is how it happened. 43, I mean, it was in January of 1979. I was 24 at that time.
You married first, you married earlier to Vaidya.
No, Vaidya was married ahead of me, but my elder brother, Vaidya was the eldest.
Oh, sorry.
So the elder brother got married 3 months later.
Okay.
After I did. But the most agonizing part was the wait between January 28th and September 16th. So we had to give time for the other fellow to get married, or rather at least get it fixed. But it didn't happen. It had to happen after she entered our family.
Okay. Could you trace the hilarious part of the whole thing? The most hilarious moment?
For me, the shock.
Yeah. Here, to the audience, the most hilarious part of the story. He saw someone else on the way.
Someone else.
On the way. He is going to see Lalita. Let's say she is living in Andheri. वो बीच में उजाले में किसी और को देखने गया. So this is the hilarious part of the story. And in your story, if you can bring this hilarious element, you will have what is called, a wow moment from the audience. Somebody is listening to your story. So either you lower your voice or increase the pitch. I was actually going to see Lita, but in the way, isko bhi hum dekh ke chale. So suddenly the audience they will have a wow, a very important element of expressing your emotion. Good story. Excellent, Lex. Okay, let's move.
Shall I tell one?
It has to be
Jamila, please,
complete.
your
Shall I
story.
tell one?
Mohan,
Shall I tell one hilarious?
Mohan, it is incomplete without her version.
Oh yeah, please. Okay, let's listen to Lalita and then go to Jamila.
Okay. Marriage fixed. September 16th was our marriage, and 15th was that Mapla in those days. Okay, it was raining heavily
in Bombay.
The party came. It was raining, and Mohan, Vaidya Anna, his wife Mani had gone to deliver her first child. She was not there for the marriage. And these brothers resembled each other to a large extent. And having seen these boys only once, my mother had never seen the elder brother. She had seen only him, because during the girl seeing, Vaidya was not there.
Correct.
So on that day, my mother had to go with that Aarti to welcome the groom. She mistook Vaidya for him. She went with the Aarti. Vaidya bichara alone, his wife also not there. So piche bichara gaya. मैं नान इल्ले बोल के गया वो और गिरा भी.
He had a fall.
And this was narrated by my brothers who were there on the scene, because the bride was not allowed to come out. He was inside. So later on, this was narrated by my brothers, and my brothers they make fun of everybody. So bola amma pona ipdi tattu eduthu avan paavam naanalla solli Rajamani pinnala vetti. So that was another part of it.
Excellent. See how the hilarity was built in, and Lalita introduced the element of the language. Naanalla is a typical Palagat way of expressing I am not that. Main nahi hu. That natural element, and people who did not understand that also understood the language. Naanalla, people understand. See how the hilarity can be built in. And I know Rajamani personally because he was my Reserve Bank colleague. I can see his expression, I can see his expression. Wonderful, great. Let's go to Jamila.
I told you, I was a heroine in Kannada industry as soon as I came from FTII. Then after marriage, I had a long gap. I didn't act for 18 years. I was not supposed to act. After that, I had to re-enter because for some financial situation developed and I required the money. So again, I entered in my early 40s. So when I entered, I just got the role of a doctor. So somebody said she'll be good for the doctor's role because she can talk, because most of the Kannada artists, they're not so comfortable in English. They speak Kannada very well. So I could speak English, so Kannada, English, everything. I was doing as a psychiatrist. I did the role of a psychiatrist. So once we had a shooting in Nimhan's hospital. So I was a doctor. So the shot required, I have to put the doctor's coat, the stethoscope, and I have to walk to the receptionist and, just ask something regarding something. So the receptionist will tell me something. So, in the Nimhan's hospital, everybody is little mentally retarded and all that. They all come to see the shooting. They were all sitting there and here. So during the shot, I just walked, as soon as they said action, my front was not seen. I just walked like that and I went to the receptionist. Oh my God. As soon as I was talking to the receptionist, I got a blow in my back. Somebody kicked me very badly at my back. Everybody rushed to me. I fell down there. What happened? What happened? There were many mentally retarded persons, One person came and kicked me very badly on my back. This has happened truly. Very badly. Yeah, really. Now you are laughing, but that time I got a shock and I just fell down and everybody came, Yenaitu, Jayalakshmi, Yenaitu. What happened? What happened? Then, as soon as it happened, you feel, no, you should get up. People are watching and all that. So I made an effort to get up. And what was the reason? There were a lot of mentally retarded people around. One person, he didn't like a particular doctor. And that doctor resembled me, it seems. Yeah. And that doctor resembled me. And so that as soon as I went there, he was very against it. He just felt like kicking me. So that he kicked me so badly, that was 20 years back. So that time I could somehow manage. If now means I'll tell I would have gone, I would have been dead by then. So that was a very, if I remember now, I had tell this incident to so many people. Yeah, it really happened. That was the hilarious part, because now you feel hilarious, but at that point it was really shocking for me. And everybody came and they what happened, anything happened. But that pain really remained for 1 month for me. Because it was at the back and it was near back, so it didn't. If it was somewhere else, means it would have been very bad for me. So this is the thing which happened.
When we did the self-introduction, self-story, it was kind of flat narrative. But when we try to introduce emotions into an incident, the whole thing starts like that ECG graph. One peak, one fall, one peak, one fall, which makes it that much more interesting. And they say, it remains in the mind for much longer. And one more thing which we tried to do, all of us tried to do, was to try to keep a steady head when you're talking, which we'll see in the next few sessions. Keep a steady head and a steady gaze. Looking is something, gaze is something. When you can, it's riveting, you can get people to listen to you. Okay. So we have just Tamban Nair, we have not heard. Tamban Nair, would you like to say something?
Unmute.
Unmute. Unmute.
Mine is a big story.
Yeah, tell me a story from your life introducing some emotions into that.
Emotion part means my
okay, tell me
mother,
what you want to. Aap kuch bhi batao, we'll see later.
No, always I was, walking here and there and without giving some sort of troubles and playing with others and all. My mother always used to take a stick and say that I'll beat you, I will beat you. Throughout the life, she has not touched me for that. See,
but stick alone she used to carry in her hand.
Yeah, she was that much love she has had for me. Near to God. Yeah. Never, and always she used to shout, I will throw you out, I will kick you, everything. But never she has touched me in that order. Number one. And always so many times I got chances to act, sing, see so many people, but never I could do it. For example, sometime back I have told you, it seems, that I had the occasion of, going to Bombay and seeing, watching Mukesh singing, late Mukesh. But I could have gone to him, but my mind said that, who am I? I am a nobody. I could not go to him. I loved him. My biggest regards for him always. I used to sing all his songs. Most of the songs were by heart, but I could not go to him. Yet another time, Jesudas came to Kerala near my place for an orchestra. There again, I wanted to tell him something, and I went up to the stage, then came back. I was afraid that he may not.
I'll press the pause button here, and I would like people to identify the emotion. Mukesh Jesudas, what is the emotion?
Inhibition.
Admiration.
Narration, there is regret, but in that
Admiration.
regret, are you able to treat one more emotion there? A certain complex that I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
What will they
Yes.
think of me?
Yes.
What will they think of me? Are you able to trace this emotion?
Yes.
Yeah. Correct.
So what these small
You were
inflections
strictly,
of I went up to the stage, but I came back. See how naturally it has come. If this emotion, natural emotion which comes, if you can bring it into play whenever you want, look at the power of your communication. You are telling a story, you're singing a song. Okay, there is a nice song. Jab se tere naina mere naino se lage. Okay, we'll do. I will take you through movie emotion songs. How a lady has to do, how a gent has to do. Okay, we'll take it through in the coming sessions. But these are certain.
For that matter, 1 minute. That Ghulam Nabi, Ghulam
Ali.
वो गाना है ना.
गुलाम अली, गुलाम नबी आजाद और कोई है.
गुलाम अली का वो गाना है ना. That will give you a very beautiful emotional scene.
Which song?
Chupke.
Yeah.
You want to really see some emotions?
Yeah.
Go to Mukesh songs. मुफ्त हुए बदनाम किसी से हाय दिल को लगा के जीना हुआ इल्जाम किसी से हाय. That's why these songs are immortal.
Yeah.
That's why they are immortal.
आंसू भरी है. So many.
आंसू भरी is expressed emotion. Unexpressed emotion. भूले से मोहब्बत कर बैठा नादान त बेचारा दिल ही तो है हर दिल से खता हो जाती है बिगड़ो न खुदा. Look at the sustained emotion. If you are able to bring it in your singing, just imagine what wonders you can. That's the only difference between that singer and our singer. They not just sing, they act. I heard somebody singing this song, मुझे तुमसे कुछ भी न चाहिए. Fine. But the beauty of the expression comes in the second line. मगर मैं कह नहीं सक. I can't tell you this. This is how the acting element has to shine out in our roles. Okay. We'll hear Kanta. Okay, I would like Kanta to tell us a story, particularly of some interaction which brings out the emotion.
Interaction with
your pet. I don't like to refer to them as a dog.
No, neither do I. I call them my babies.
It's her babies. Yes. There are certain things I had interacted with her. I would like you to share some of them, or at least one of them.
I keep talking to my youngest fellow, whose name is Ollie. He's 6 years old. I picked him up here in PSN when he was attacked by the biggest strays and, almost died in that attack. Since then, he has been, after staying in the ICU for 11 days after that attack, he came to us. And right now, he's got some problem, skin problem and all that because of, and the way he was treated outside when he was a few months old. But now he's much better in 6 years that he's been with me, and he's like a baby to me. So I keep talking to him all the time, and my husband says, you're behaving as if, there's a child in front of you. The way you just keep talking to him and you expect him to answer back to you. I said, I know he realizes that, she's my mother and whatever she does for me is what should be done actually.
Are you able to feel the affection for that quadruped? She has a grandchild, right? But she seems to be more affectionate to that little boy.
Yes.
When I was first interacting with Kanta, we were planning to hold karaoke sessions in people's houses. Kanta said, no, there are too many babies in the house, I can't hold it. Only then I realized that I actually thought they were babies. And she said, no, they will disturb, keep wagging their tail and walking around the house. Only then I realized that they are pets. So, as we draw to a conclusion today, the element of acting, it is very, very close to a human heart. It expresses itself in the heart, and all the emotions are there in the heart. Denial doesn't help. But if you are able to articulate that emotions and make it objective, okay, through these sessions, I want to drive one more point. Sometimes we are not able to face certain emotions and they as though sink their fangs into our head. But if you are able to objectify the emotions, these emotions become defanged. We can talk about the most difficult issues with a certain level of comfort. I'm in order talking about, I like to use this. I am in order talking about all this, talking, thinking, sharing without being dragged. So today's session ran for about 83 minutes. We will meet again next Saturday. And in that session, what I would like to do is, in this, slowly expand into, try to, today we all did various emotions. On one occasion, we'll try and do maybe 2 or 3 emotions. We'll possibly do wonders, how to express certain wonder in various expressions from our life, from the life that you've heard from others, and from the stories that you've heard in others. Possibly an element of dialogue delivery, not total dialogue delivery. And going forward, at some point of time, I would like each of the participants to do at least a 4-minute total 1-act play kind of. You will be the only person on the screen and you will act as 2 or 3 different characters. Okay, bring out 3 different characters. We'll work on it. 2 or 3 different running dialogue, like something like Gestalt therapy. We look into, we possibly bring out the 2 or 3 characters, have a dialogue within those characters. The 3 characters can be yourself, can be somebody. Like when Tamban Nair said, no, my mom used to carry with a stick, I could see the mother there. Somebody then, when Lalita said, Nanalla, I could see Rajamani there. So can we bring out this? I am the sole actor, but can I bring out the other actors? That will be in future week. So next week, we'll once again go through all this. If any one of you wants to say something, what else do you would like to do? Welcome. Next 2 minutes available for you on the screen.
I would like to say 2 words to you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. It was a wonderful session.
And of course, we'll also go to one of my goals is when we sing a song, try to bring the elements without too much of hardware. All this we can do only with this. But we can look up, look down, all those things we'll try. Okay. So thank you very much for the Saturday morning.
Thank you.
Meet again next Saturday.
Thank you.
You can communicate to us through the WhatsApp group or through Archana. She'll possibly form a WhatsApp group and we could communicate to there. Anything that you will share. I'll also be showing you certain videos and things like that and then we'll comment on all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mohan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.